Hello, hello, hello. Today we're going to talk about, again, I don't know, I'm not sure if you've heard this one. It's Brothers in Arms by Straits. But there is a reason. Not only because it's a classic album, but it's just been reissued on, half speed mastered vinyl. Yeah, an album best known for being the mainstay of the CD generation. Don't worry, it wasn't the first CD released. There's some debate which one it is, but we'll go with the rock pop one, shall we? ABBA, The Visitors. There we go. Back in 1982, precedes it by 3 years. But yeah, I'm just pulling up the Wikipedia page, so then it looks like I know what I'm talking about. That's what you need to do. But yeah, it's been recently reissued. This is dating the video. The year is 2021, the year we conquered COVID, I believe. But this was originally released back on the 13th of May 1985. And this is also the first time I've owned it. This is my first copy of Brothers in Arms. How so, Darren? Well, I'm not a Dire Straits fan. I can't ever claim to be. But I do have a respect for this album, and I appreciate it as being a classic album. And I thought, because it is the half speed mastering and the 40, got to play at 45, I thought I'd give it a spin, see what it was like, and also comment on that, as well as it being a classic album. So it's like a 2-for-1 deal, because there was an impetus for me to do the review. And again, if you were, I was 14 when this was released, and it had a lot of singles. There were a lot of singles: So Far Away, Money for Nothing, Brothers in Arms, Walk of Life, Your Latest Trick. Were they all released in the UK? I'm just having a look. Does it say? It doesn't say. It just tells you about the charts of the what's it. But on the Wikipedia page, those are the singles that were released. Was it released in the UK? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, it was. 5th and final single in the UK. Blimey. I don't remember that one, but I remember the other ones. And so I think this is why I know the album so well. But there's also the fact that a friend of mine used to play the album with regularity, and he used to play along with it on his guitar because he thought he was Mark Knopfler. No, he didn't. But he could play. He used just to demonstrate, showing off. I don't know, maybe he was in love with me. I'm not sure. Maybe he's just trying to impress me like a peacock. So that's another reason why I know this album without actually owning it. And so it was really interesting yesterday when I sat down with my cup of tea and my biscuits, because those are the equipment you require when listening to any album. And I sat down and I absorbed the album again, and it's very strange. It's very strange when you don't own an album, but you know every beat of it. And I'm not going to dwell because this is an album that everybody should know. And it's funny because even though it is a classic album, it's not like other classic albums like, I don't know, Dark Side of the Moon or Sgt. Pepper's, or, think of another one. Because with those ones, we might only know the standout hits. And I think because there were so many songs taken off of this, and some of the music was used elsewhere, I think it's more into the psyche than other classic albums. Yeah, that's just a theory. I mean, again, take Dark Side of the Moon. You're going to know Money and possibly Time, because they've been used in TV shows as incidental music. You might just know those two if you haven't heard the album. I'm talking purely as if you haven't heard the album, whereas with this, you've just got that bulldozer that is Money for Nothing, which demolished everything before it, and again, so it starts off with So Far Away, which is, again, it's a nice, bright and breezy track. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll back a bit. My problem with this record is the pacing. It's got some really good songs in it. I mean, all the songs are decent, but the pacing of it is a bit odd. It tends to sag at the end. It starts off fairly up, and then it kind of descends. It goes like that as an album. And I like albums that tend to undulate. And I would say my biggest issue with this album is the track listing, the track ordering, the track running, the run list, the time, whatever you want to call it. And I think if the songs had been, I know some of the more upbeat songs would have been sprinkled around some of the more downbeat songs. I think it would have, but I find it goes like that. That's just my opinion. Other opinions may vary, and we're allowed to do that. We are allowed to do that. So that's my main criticism of it. I think the songs are in the wrong order. There we go. But other than that, starts off with So Far Away, which again was a single, well-known, nice track. But let's just jump on to Money for Nothing. Interesting thing about the album is the album version is 8 minutes 26, whereas, and I'm just going to see if I can find it, what the single version was. Yeah, the single edit is nearly half that, 4 minutes 38. They chop away at it. And again, you forget, because you're so used to hearing the single edit, the album version is like, goes on a bit. But I still don't think it outstays its welcome. But it is, again, it's that disparity from the stuff you hear on the radio and see on Top. Who remembers Top of the Pops? I do. One day I'll do the video about me when I was on Top of the Pops in the audience, because I've got the footage now and I could do that. Would you like that? Yeah, maybe I'll do that one day. So yeah, when you hear it on Top of the Pops, it's very truncated, and of course it has that very difficult verse now. We can't talk about it because we get cancelled. But he talks about hearing that faggot, use the F word, faggot, which we know it's like a meatball in the UK. It's a meatball. Did you know that a faggot is a meatball? Go and look it up. It's not a derogatory term. So if I call you a faggot, it's because you remind me of a meatball covered in gravy. Brains, faggots. That reference is only going to appeal to about that percentage of the audience. That tiny percent. I love the way it focuses on my fingers. Look. Borky. I got some decent borky. Borky going on there, look. And then focused. On my beautiful face. Look how beautiful I am. One of my personal favourites is Walk of Life. I really like that one. It's really upbeat. It's a right sing-along. Sing-along track. I always remember there's a pigeon. Is there a pigeon in the video? I just think of a pigeon walking along for some reason. But it's twangy. It's upbeat. It's what you want. Your latest trick slows things down again. Why Worry, a bit more upbeat. Ride Across the River slows down. Man's Too Strong is quite fun, but it's a very flimsy musical idea, But I think it could have. I'm going to talk about that in the production side of things. One World, which is, and the end track Brothers in Arms, which it's a very sad song, And I think to end the album on that, I don't know, it's pretty brave because it ends the album on a really downbeat, miserable ending. It's the damp fart ending, isn't it? It's the damp fart ending, which we want the big bang ending, surely. No? Okay, we go for the damp fart ending. It's a lovely song, and the video was nice. It had one of those rotoscoped animated videos like Take On Me, but without Morton Harkett in it, obviously. That would have been weird. So yeah, it is a classic album, and all these songs are inside my DNA without me even bloody realising it, and that is frightening. That's the frightening aspect of it. Yeah, there are a few tracks on there, like One World and Why Worry. Again, I think that was 8 minutes 31. Goes on a bit. Could cut that back a bit, but it's a funny album like that. Money for Nothing's 8 minutes too. And there's some quite long tracks on there, and really you want things that fly by, poppy, zippy, zappy, with whoosh. But no, we're going to drag it out. But it's the 80s. It's 1985, and what's curious about it, even on the vinyl, is the production. It's so clean. It's so crisp. It's empty. It's an airless. airless production, as if it was designed by computers. You know, it was made on a computer. Even, you know, I mean, I think it was one of the first wholly digital productions. Do you remember the little DDD? Triple D? Not double D. Now everyone loves double D. Triple D. You used to have it on the back of your CDs. Do you remember that? That meant it was an all digital production. Usually it was ADD or AAD. It was never DAD, because that spells dad. But it was DD. This was DDD. And so you could show it off to your friends. You could impress them and say, look, it's digital. Look, it's digital. It's digital. You know, look at it. Digital production. Look at it. And hold up to the face. Look. I shame I ain't got a copy of the hold up. And then you'd say to your friends, and in 2021, I'm going to buy it again on vinyl. An inferior sounding medium. But we'll come to that. You know, so it's got very empty, airless quality to it. Very pristine. And this was symptomatic of the record production of the time. You know, the 80s has this period where everything is very, very clean and very, very dry. I describe it as airless. It feels like there's no air moving in the studio, like it was recorded in a vacuum. It instantly reminded me of Sade and Diamond Life. You know, the production that she has, very clean, very crisp, very similar to that. And again, hearing it on this fantastic pressing, I might add, it is a fantastic pressing. It sounded as good as the CD. It really did. And I noticed some bits on it that I hadn't noticed before, which is interesting. Some little details here and there, which was pretty cool. But saying that, I haven't heard this on CD. I'd only ever heard it, I think my friend played it on LP back in the day. He had the LP version of it. So yeah, it's a classic album. This is going to score, I'm not going to score it down. This will get 5 Walk of Lives out of 5, obviously, because it's a classic album. But then we come to the actual this, which is the 45 RPM. Oh, look at my big crease there. It's a big crease. I still love it. 45 RPM half-speed mastered edition, and this is a bit of a faddy thing. It's like it's an audiophile thing. I've experienced them with the was it Peter Gabriel? Peter Gabriel did them, and they did them with Brian Eno as well, but I don't think they were 45s, so they were still pressed at 33. Or were they 45s? Some were, some weren't. Details. You don't come here for details. You come here for me to vaguely try and remember what I'm going to say next. But yeah, I sat down with it, and it's a very nice pressing. It enveloped me. It was almost as good as having the CD. Gee, I could have bought the CD for a penny off of Music Magpie, but I didn't. I chose to spend £30+ on this deluxe edition because I'm an idiot. No, because it's something to talk about, and I wanted to own it. I like owning vinyl. I'm a bit of a vinyl snob in that respect. You know, I like the process of sitting down with a cup of tea and a biscuit. And there's a certain procedure, you know, ceremony. There's the ceremony of getting the LP, selecting the LP, you know, bring it. That's me wooden leg. Getting the LP, sitting down with it, putting it on, queuing it up, you know, getting everything. Your attention is engaged, and you don't get that with CD. You don't get that in streaming. With this, your attention is engaged, and I don't know if it's because you wonder if it's going to skip. My record player never skips, but I don't know if it's just you're just locked into it because it is an album. I don't know. It's just a thing. Maybe other vinyl people out there could explain in the comment box below what the fascination is. And all the people who love CDs can complain that we're wrong, and there could be a battle between. Look, I do both. I swing both ways. I'm just saying, but I wanted to hear it like this. So yeah, if you're thinking of buying it, and because you want the primo experience, Oh, I endorse this. I endorse it. I'm endorsing it. It gets 2 thumbs up for that. I think it's a very good pressing and very clean, and you won't be disappointed with it. The only problem is you have to turn it over more. But I don't have a problem with that because it gives me a chance to have a sip of tea whilst I'm turning it over. I think it makes it more apparent of the track listing, the track run, when you flip the record over like that. Whereas if it's just running down, I think it makes that a bit more apparent. What else can I say? Is it a brilliant album? No. Some of the songs are really good. Track listing's a bit wonky. I think again, I could fix that, or I could remedy that. It's very much a product of its time. It is the Dark Side of the Moon of the 80s. It is. Those 2 albums kind of represent a time. And again, that's what we have to remember. You have to look at things contextually. Yeah. Helps if you like Dire Straits as well. But it's when an album captures the public's imagination, like Dark Side of the Moon, like say Thriller by Jackson, or this one. When an album captures the public's imagination, that's the fascinating thing for me. I mean, you're not going to get it now because, as we know, music is culturally irrelevant. It doesn't have the importance, the import that it did have back in the 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s, whenever. It doesn't have that influence now, unfortunately. It exists in a different form. There will never be an artist who will sell an album in the same amounts as this, or Thriller, or Dark Side of the Moon, or whatever. Never going to happen again. Never going to happen again. And we have to understand that. We have to appreciate that. But I do find these classic albums fascinating. The same way, I mean, one on a more personal level, So by Peter Gabriel. Find that fascinating. That, a guy who couldn't get arrested, the previous albums, couldn't get arrested, suddenly has an album that explodes and everyone's into it. Yeah, it helps if you have a hit single, but it was just, again, a massive album. And those days are gone. I'm waxing lyrical, and really I should be winding up. I should be winding up the review, but instead I've gone weaving off in a weird direction. But yeah, it was really good to sit down with this. It transported me back to the 80s, and that's what music can do. It can take you back in time. It's like having a time machine on a turntable. It can take you back in time and space to when you were younger, fitter, happier. You had your own hair back then. I was only young. I was only 14. And that's the magic of music. And that's why I bought this, to have a little bit of magic, to feel a bit young again. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, Not to say it's not perfect, in my opinion. I think, again, we want to do that. We don't want to do that. We want to do that. But yeah, so thank you for watching. If you have any doubts about this record, or this version of this record, don't, because if you want the audiophile experience, then this is what you need. This is what you need to pick up, for it is really, really top rate stuff. Really, really good stuff. And that's it. I think we've done it. But if you don't want this, just pick up the CD for a penny. I'm sure there are millions out there in charity shops and Goodwills. If you're in America and Canada, you can just get that. It really is a classic album. Yeah, and thank you for watching. There's only one more thing left to say. My name's Darren Lock. I've been talking about Dire Straits, Brothers in Arms, with money for nothing. Do money for nothing. I want my MTV. Do my sting, yeah? Do my sting for you. Got that for free. Thank you for watching. There's only one more thing left to say. By now you should know what that is, and that is Ta-da.